Good morning, Coolest Coast, and welcome to Coffee with Kristin and Tina. It is Tuesday, July 21st, 2020. It is another glorious day on the Coolest Coast, 67 degrees and sunny. I am Tina Prigge with Vagabond Creative Studio, joined by my good friend, Kristin Odell, fellow mom and entrepreneur of Grow with KLO. Kristin, how's it going this morning? You look sunburned.
I am sunburned. I'm not super crispy. I'm just warm.
Yeah, you look like you're glowing, like you're sun-kissed. Tell us more.
Well, can you see that? We had the pleasure of going to church on Sunday morning, and then we went from there to Hala to have some brunch to visit Mike Shannon, and we sat outside, and so we just got a little sun-kissed sitting on the patio.
So that's just from enjoying brunch. Wow.
It is.
It suits you. It looks good. Looks like it went well with a good meal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was so good. So
yeah,
good.
Shout out to Hala. I do love that place.
Hala.
Hala. And so, Kristin, last week was Ladies' Night, rock climbing at the Strand. I think that we've got a picture or two to show. Tell us how cool that was.
So this is my friend Shannon, who I actually went to high school with, and she came from Green Bay to come and climb with us, which I was so thankful for. I haven't seen her in years. We had an awesome group of ladies. There's the crowd. They just dug into climbing and all the ways that you can climb in. And we're actually pointing to this board here. They have one section of the wall that is like the speed wall. And above it, there's all these high scores, and it just happened to be all men. And so we created our own ladies board. We broke the glass ceiling of climbing and made our own board. And so there's anybody who competed, their times and how they did. So.
Oh, you turned it into a competition. Wow, you guys, that's awesome.
We realized there's a lot of competitive women in the group, actually. After sometimes got beaten, then they had to try it again, which I appreciate a lot. But yeah, we also learned some of the ladies, when you get to the top, there's that letting go piece that can be really hard. And some of them could not do it. That trust fall thing of falling back was too much for them. And they ended up climbing back down the wall. So I do think there's Mary. She joined us. Actually, you guys, this is such a cool story. So Mary and I have only met through this show and finally got to meet in person on that climbing night. So that's was really
so cool. That is so cool. Mary, good morning. Yeah. I'm so glad that you got to join the climb too, especially since I know that you hadn't been feeling the best prior to that. I'm so glad to know that it all worked out. And hey, speaking of adventure, Kristin, have you and the girls at all taken advantage of the adventure pass that the Manitowoc Library offers? I don't know if people are aware of it, but it's pretty cool. On the first of every month, if a person has a Manitowoc Library card, they can check out an adventure pass. And what that means is they can, for their family, visit different attractions throughout Manitowoc County that normally would have an admission fee. So with the adventure pass, you can go to, for example, Farm Wisconsin Discovery Center, Rogers Street Fishing Village, Hamilton Wood Type Museum, the Wisconsin Maritime Museum. It's just a cool way to experience the attractions that we have here.
Mm-hmm. So we haven't personally used that yet, but I am so glad that you're mentioning it. I think it's so cool. We've been to some of those places and they're all amazing. So I definitely would encourage people to take advantage of that if they haven't been to those places before.
Absolutely. Patty, thanks for commenting about the trust fall issues. It's true, that first moment where you have to say, I have all of this gear on, but I'm just going to toss myself into the air. That does take a lot of commitment and trust.
Patty, I wasn't going to throw you under the bus. I was keeping your name confidential. You for having the courage to tell people that it was hard. Yeah, I know some of the other women after the fact sent me a note saying, okay, I could not do it in that moment, but I want to come back and I'm going to fall and I'm going to do everything that I said I was going to do. So I appreciated their willingness to come back.
That's awesome. Mary, the pain is worth it though, isn't it? Being sore for 2 days after. And if you keep doing it, if you get that monthly package, it's true. You'll feel sore less and less.
Yep. Yeah. A lot of climbing, people don't realize this is grip strength. So how strong your hands are. And so it's interesting stuff to go and learn where you're strong and where you're weak. And And they all said we want to do it again. So I think we'll probably have another ladies' night in the future.
That sounds fantastic. I wasn't able to get there, but next time I definitely am in. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we're super excited. You can probably tell I'm really amped up because we have a special guest joining us. She is a fellow entrepreneur. She is a lifelong Manitowoc resident and also an actress, also a philanthropist, and the self-proclaimed diva of dump stations. Please welcome to Coffee with Kristin and Tina, Kristin Kornely. Chris, how's it going this morning?
What an intro. But I want to go climbing with you. I missed it. And I would fling myself.
Well, that settles it then. We have to have another ladies climb.
Right. We have to go fling. That would actually be the best part.
Diva of dump stations. Let's unpack that. Tell us what that means.
Well, Diva of Dump Stations means I'm the owner of the Tower Company. And it's my company. I make and sell RV sanitary dump stations. So if you're an RVer, you know what they are. You drive up to a water tower and you flush out your waste with my product, the water tower. So if you want to see one in town, there's one at the marina. There's quite a few at Point Beach. But I sell the state park, but I sell all through the United States and Canada.
So it's quite possible if somebody has been RVing around the States, they may have used.
They have dumped with the diva.
That's awesome. So the Tower Company.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, how long have you been doing this? How long have you been the diva of dump?
22 years, which is just like amazing. Bought the company 22 years ago from FormRight. It was a little company they had within FormRight. And they actually had approached me to run the company for them. But when we sat down and talked about it, they said, we want to concentrate on our tube bending. Would you like to buy it? And it was a perfect fit for me. I had done manufacturing. I had done sales. I had done everything. So I could fit. It was just this fit. Did I think I was ever going to grow up and be the diva of dump stations? No. So that's the advice I need to tell people is leave yourself open to whatever opportunity is there for you. Everything you do before just builds and builds and builds. And then you might have this opportunity and take advantage of it.
That is great advice, that you can't necessarily predict what that opportunity is going to be, but if you are prepared and you are open to it, who knows where you'll end up.
Correct.
So were you an entrepreneur before you made that purchase?
Well, I grew up in a family business, so it was in my blood. I sort of denied it for a while, but my whole life growing up was working in our family business. And, sitting down at the kitchen table at night, my dad used to do figures on the Formica table, so we talked about it constantly. You were part of it. We had a dairy processing plant. So we bottled milk, took milk in, bottled milk. My dad made the best ice cream and custard ever. That was the best part. And chocolate milk too. Best chocolate milk. So it was just there in me all the time. And I majored in political science in college because that was a passion, and theater, studied a lot of theater. Those were passions. But I like to eat. So,
right.
And we all know in theater, you can't feed yourself.
Right. So you do what it takes to make that a reality. Right. And I think you've been breaking glass ceilings. Oh, go ahead.
It's in my blood. Yeah, it's in my blood.
And you've been breaking glass ceilings for a while, it sounds like. Didn't you tell me that you were the first woman manufacturing supervisor for the Manitowoc company?
Yes. But I never, here's the difference. I never saw the glass ceiling. It was in my family, you were told you could do whatever you wanted to do. So to tell you the truth, I didn't think about glass ceilings. I didn't think about that. Did I know I was a woman going into uncharted territory, manufacturing especially? Yes. but I did not think that it was not possible.
Wow, that's awesome.
Chris, I love that perspective, because I feel like that's kind of the grains that I come from, is you just don't know any difference, so you just go to do it. Tell us a little bit of what that transition was like into that role, and into, certainly back then was a man's world.
Well, it wasn't bad. I mean, when I got out of college, the deal in my family was you finished college in 4 years and you were on your own and you couldn't move home. So I came back to Manitowoc from Madison. I got this apartment on Washington Street that a drug dealer lived in before me. Okay. That was interesting. And my parents never cared about where we lived. We could live in the worst places and they never cared. It was an experience, a learning experience. And I got a job because I had to have a job. I started working in the factory at Miro a week after I graduated from Madison. Now that's a real culture change, but one of the best experiences I've ever had. I learned more from those women I worked with in the year I did that than what I learned in 4 years of college about life. Yeah.
Wow.
Wonderful women. And then got a job as an industrial engineer at Miro and went through the cutbacks of Miro and went to Manitowoc Ice as an industrial engineer, and then went out on the floor supervising men. Okay. But, if you like people, people, look at everyone as an individual, who they are, what's in their heart, what's in their soul, and it's fine.
So along with your political science classes at Madison, had you taken some engineering to end up in those engineering positions, or did you just learn on the job?
Learned on the job, learned in my earlier life, because engineering was part of running a business. And blessed to have the ability to learn just about anything.
So tell us a little bit, you were talking about working at Manitowoc Ice, and you have an evaporator to show us. And I love how, Manitowoc Ice machines show up all around the world in hotels and restaurants. And you were telling us.
My department was the Evaporator Department, which is the ice cube tray of the machine. So I got this when I left. Again, amazing. I ran the largest electroless nickel plating line in the world. Woo! Didn't know a thing about it. Learned everything I could about electroless nickel plating, and did that.
And now I heard that sometimes people find you, behind an ice machine at a hotel, for example, checking it out.
Anyone who's worked at Manitowoc Ice will always dig in their glass wherever they are to see if it's Manitowoc Ice. It's the rhomboid shape. When you go to a hotel and there's a Manitowoc Ice machine, if you know how they're made, okay, you crawl behind them, look at the serial number, figure it out, might make an adjustment if their bridge on their ice isn't quite right. And sometimes you get caught behind the ice machine when people come in to get ice. So
that's fantastic. Marisa, thanks for commenting. Loving how your parents influenced your success. It's a good reminder that, as parents, we do have a great impact in the future success of the children that we raise.
And I see Aggie Schneider. I don't think so, but I had some wonderful women who really taught me the ropes, and I loved them. Marion Luxinger, I always pay tribute to Marion because we worked together many nights at Miro, and she was a wonderful woman. She's one of my Rosie stories because she met her sailor husband at one of the passion pits in Manitowoc.
So if you don't know, Chris does an awesome portrayal of Rosie the Riveter. If you look at this set of pictures here on the far right by the courthouse, that is Chris as Rosie the Riveter. She's done a couple of really interesting history pieces for the Coolest Coast. You can find them on coolestcoast.com. And so it's really cool to hear about what your inspiration is, Chris.
Yeah. So I worked with some of the Rosies.
Nice.
Yeah.
And your acting doesn't stop there.
No, and Tina and Jason and I have shared the stage at the Forest Inn. We had so much fun.
So much fun. It's so much fun sharing the stage.
With my husband Rick Roll.
Hi, Rick.
We're laughing because there's lots of backstage stories. When you do a show, there's lots of backstage stories, and we have lots of backstage stories.
But what happens backstage stays backstage.
And all my peppermints that I used to suck on during the show, there's a ledge. And Teresa's up there, and I spent a great evening with Teresa last night, signed up for yoga, and you know what? I was the only one there. And we had a wonderful time. Thank you, Teresa. We had a beautiful practice together and on the lakeshore, and it was wonderful.
You're so lucky. That's like a personal yoga session.
It was.
Wow.
So I practice yoga quite a bit. So it's a real treat.
So Chris, I saw some pipes in that picture.
Yeah, I got the pipes.
How do you keep strong and active and, kind of centered around making sure you're doing self-care?
Oh, it's really important to me to do self-care. And I tell everyone, please take care of yourself. So what I do is I eat very well, usually 99% of the time. I do yoga. I do Pilates reformer, which is wonderful. And that gives you so much strength and balance and core strength. And it's so beneficial. I walk and I play with the kids next door. So,
and from what I hear, they love you dearly.
Well, I love them dearly, and we have so much fun. And I think I put in my bio, don't ever lose your inner child, because keep that inner child, because there's nothing better than play. I love to work, but I love to play. And it's good to play with people my own age.
Chris, I love the philosophy and the knowledge that you're dropping on us this morning. This is fantastic.
Well, I got a few years on you, but learned a few lessons.
Tell us about your guest in the car here.
Well, that's Penelope. Penelope is our dog, but we used to have German Shepherds. And when our last German Shepherd died, we said we weren't getting a dog, but we babysat dogs. So we had over 16 different dogs we would babysit.
Wow.
Not at one time, but Penelope was our first dog we babysat. She actually belonged to our vet. And Sarah, our vet, who is a wonderful, if you need an acupuncture, chiropractic vet for your dog, she's great. Sarah Gilbertson Pipcorn. And I got to know her because she took care of our German Shepherd. Well, 3 years into babysitting dogs, Sarah called one day. She had a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a new baby. She's a full-time vet. Her husband's a full-time vet. And she had an old bulldog and Penelope. And she called and she was crying. And she was like, I can't do this anymore. We want to give you Penelope, because she wasn't getting any attention. So we kind of took her, we'll keep her until you're ready. Well, that was probably 4 or 5 years ago. So Penelope is ours now.
Nice. What a nice addition to the family. So Chris, we were talking about acting, but we should also mention that you are an accomplished director too. And, for many years served as the director of Heartorama.
Producer.
Oh, yeah.
Producer, writer, actor.
And maskers, and your philanthropy extends to a lot of organizations across the city.
Well, it does, and it's really important to me to serve my community. So I have served on many nonprofit boards, Holy Family College, which I just lost, which meant a lot. The Capitol Civic Center, I'm an officer there. Served on the Masker board for 25 years, treasurer for 18. Manitowoc Noon Rotary, which is service above self, the Domestic Violence Center, and what others? Library board I've been on. I've made the rounds, and today I'm on the Aquatic Center board, and so it's a way of giving back and using your talents and your skills to make your home community a better place. And that's really important. I can't imagine living without serving my community. Yeah. It's important.
I love that. Making the most of where you live by giving back to your community and supporting your community.
Yeah. Right. Give back.
Makes all the difference.
Make it great. We are a wonderful community, and just give what you can and the time you can, your skills, your talents, whatever that may be for you. I mean, for me, I don't know, I don't know what else I would do. So it's just there.
That is awesome. Chris, we have some really great takeaways from you today. First of all, don't even recognize the limits, right? There is no glass ceiling. Just go for it.
Don't think about that, because if you, I came from, my parents, and especially my dad, was just like, whatever you want to do it. There was no limitations put on us whatsoever, except you couldn't move home.
That one rule.
I was the last of 9, so there were 25 years between me and my oldest sibling. So it was like, there's no coming home, and we're done with kids.
Vicki, thank you so much for your nice compliment to Chris.
Hey, thank you.
Absolutely. Chris, you are a gift to the community. I love the fact too that you reiterated the importance of self-care and also the importance of giving back and taking care of the community where we live. What a great conversation. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us here. Kristin, thanks for being with us. To all of our viewers, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. We look forward to future conversations, to rock climbing with you, and everybody take care.
For falling.
For falling, free fall. We'll see y'all next time on Coffee with Kristin and Tina.
Thank you.